Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E Streaming. It's Sunday night, and that means only one thing. It is time for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellars. Yes, we are back here with the Supercars, back on the ovals, and we are here tonight at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. I'm, as ever, Mr. Carl Wilkinson, with you, joining me up here in the booth on comms, and also doing all the hard work behind the scenes is Mr. Matty Hunter. Matt, how you going, mate?
Yep, going good. Looking forward to this one, back on the ovals again, and always provides pretty good racing, this Charlotte 1.5. Always sort of close finishes, and yeah, should be really good to see.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to this one. But if you're joining us for the first time here tonight after catching us at Spa, this is a very different style of racing. It's almost like a super speedway for these Aussie V8 supercars, and that provides a big change. Just quickly glancing at the championship, it's Craig Roffey in the lead at the moment, 14 points ahead of Gary Wellman. Kim Roffey sits in third with Chris Finley in fourth, some 20 points behind the leader. He's in a joint position with Andy Barber at the moment. In the team's championship, it's the Sim Boys in the lead with 324 ahead of Southern Stars with 319, Pinnacle with 303, and Rogue with 300 points. So let us get to the starting grid for tonight's race. It is round number 10 of 11. We are in the penultimate race of the championship. Next time out is the decider. So it's going to be important for these guys to have a good night. And having a good start to it is Adam Malone taking pole position tonight ahead of Troy Davidson on the front row. Row number 2 sees Gary Wellman and Chris Finley making it a Sim Boys lockout on row number 2. Kim Roffey is up in row number 3 with Darren McKenzie to his outside. It's Aaron Dillon and Todd Maxfield making up row 4. Tom Pritchard and Kate Donnelly are on the 5th row tonight. Harry Anastakis with Peter Madsen make up row number 6. Philip Howe and Aidan Schultz make up row number 7. Adam Johnson and Craig Roffey are on our 8th row tonight. Shane Roffey and Noddy Tompkins making up row number 9. Andrew Carr and Justin Whitcher are on the 10th row tonight. Tim and Brian Blundell will be starting down behind them, with Andy Barber, Derek Jacobs and Kobe Jordan rounding out the 25 cars here tonight. So a stacked field tonight. Few drivers in the championship not in ideal positions, and that's probably going to be the big one tonight. Is going to be Craig Roffey down in 16th position starting out. He's going to want to try and avoid any early trouble. Gary Wellman could be in for a good shot. So could Kim Roffey. Remember, Kim Roffey took the victory last time we were out on the ovals, so he would dearly love to get another victory here tonight. Pace car is just pulling away now. The field will follow the pace car now and line up with each other, getting ready for the start of tonight's race here at Charlotte. Of course, it's going to be a big night to get a decent position in the championship, and this could be the opportunity to really lock yourself into almost a championship win if you're Craig Roffey and Gary Wellman doesn't have a good night tonight. Gary Wellman is going to be wanting to have a good run in that green Sim Boys entry on the low line. Same for Andy Barber. He'd hope to try and close in a little bit, but he's going to be starting down in 23rd position, so it's going to be a tricky one for him tonight in the number 5. And that's going to make his championship all the harder tonight. And we've got... Oh, sorry, Matt.
Yeah, they definitely do need a good run tonight, because Daytona is next week, and that's a real lottery. So, yeah, if you want to do well in the championship, you're going to have to do a really good job tonight as well.
Absolutely. Aaron Dillon just having some connectivity issues. He's pulled off the line. Hopefully that will sort itself out, because the pack are coming round. And Adam Malone is going to lead us away to the green flag here tonight. 134 laps to go. The race is about to start. I'm going to shut up. Let's enjoy these cars roar away here at Charlotte, North Carolina. And as we go into lap 1, it's Adam Malone leading away ahead of Troy Davidson. Gary Wellman had a horror start to his race, dropping down into 5th position. The car was not stable whatsoever. He almost lost it coming out of here. Turn number 2. Noddy Tompkins clipped the wall a little bit, but everybody is away safely at the moment. They are all pointing in the right direction. There's a big hit for Troy Davidson into the wall, collecting it out of turn 4. He manages to save the car, but has a big long scratch down the side of the 0-2-3. Good start for Cade Donnelly, up 4 positions at the moment, trying to work his way through the field as quick as possible. Justin Whitcher as well, having a lightning start, up 7 positions, but up the front, close as you like it, as we expect in the Australasian Supercar eSeries. Barely anything covering the cars from 1st to 13th position. Less than 2 seconds, in fact, covering the pack there. Absolutely nose to tail as they come across the line for lap number 4.
It was interesting to see on that opening lap a number of cars making contact with the wall. I think Whitcher was one of the first ones that had a bit of a scrape along the wall, and yeah, there was a number of cars, the old telltale sign of smoke coming up from them.
Yeah, quite a few people struggling in that open lap. Andrew Carr took a big whack into the wall. Just then, I believe, he had a bit of a moment with Philip Howe, lost the rear of the car and took a big chunk of the wall, and that's really damaged the front end of that car in that second group behind the leaders at the moment. But it just looked like the tyres weren't working. They weren't switching on for these guys in the opening stage, and that's something we should look for when they come down pit lane later in the race. So that could be something for the fresh tyres on this track. They might just need a few laps just to switch on and look to be a little bit perilous at the start of the stint. Kind of sitting in one line at the moment. We've got a bit of multi-groove racing behind them. Up the front, they're pretty happy sitting in almost a line. As I say that, caution flag is out. As Shane Rothie is in the side of somebody there. I missed Philip Howe. It's facing in the wrong direction. And that brings us our first caution of the night. So we just see the aftermath there. The 2 cars connected, and looks like Philip Howe's just run up the track a little bit into Shane Rothie, or has Shane Rothie come down a little bit on Philip Howe? Let's see. He's just run a bit wide through the quad oval section. Just didn't get enough steering lock for that little corner and has gone straight into the side of Shane Rothie, and that spun the car up, and big T-bone situation. And that brings out the first caution of the night on lap 7. And I imagine we're going to see a fair few drivers darting down pit road now to get themselves a little bit of extra fuel on board, to get themselves a little bit further in this first stage.
It'll certainly give them a bit more flexibility and open up a window perhaps for them. But it's pretty surprised how fast and furious it was. The action there, it was pretty aggressive. The cars don't look 100% stable at the moment. Maybe temperatures are a little bit cold for the tyres to come up to heat, but yeah, it looked pretty crazy out there.
Darren McKenzie decides to stick it out with Adam Malone. Everybody else is coming down pit road, however. Do we see anybody else decide to stick it out there? No, everybody is in the lane now and getting a little bit of extra fuel. And yeah, it was really quite furious action for the start of the race. And look, we see this sometimes where people are just a little bit excited at the start of these races and they get very aggressive very early, and that can really cause a bit of trouble sometimes, as they just get pretty hyped for the start of the race. And look, start of the race is not always the best time to try and go for the big moves.
No. From the history of these ones, you've got to sort of survive. There can be some really big accidents here, just because of the smaller nature of the track, and there's less track for cars to sort of go firing off. They tend to sort of stay on track and involve more cars and create bigger wrecks. So yeah, I'm not just to see if some drivers are sort of hanging back a bit until a little bit later, or whether they were just going to keep going as crazy fast as they can for the whole race.
It's going to be interesting to see what the two up front do now, if they are just going to go flat out and not worry about it, because they've done about 8 laps more than the rest of the pack now, and that's 8 more laps of fuel they've used. So they'll be a little bit lighter, but they are going to have to pit a little bit earlier, and a bit more flexibility in your strategy is always a good thing. As I'm surprised we're not seeing a couple of people just come in for an extra little top up of gas. Pariana Stacker's one of them. And look, I always think when you're sitting down the pack a little bit, it's always worth grabbing a little bit of extra gas in these stage stints, and especially in caution periods, because it can really bring a race alive if you've just got that little bit of extra fuel. You can go that little bit longer, especially if we see some green flag stops, because they are usually the time when you're most likely going to see a caution in a long green stint, because people coming back onto the track, people going a bit slower, people changing tyres. There's all these little different variabilities in green flag stops that can really shake up a race and often bring out the caution flag. And having that little bit of extra fuel means you can take advantage of those cautions when they happen.
Yeah, what you're ideally looking for out here is you're looking for a green flag pit stop at near the end of the race, and you can go a little bit longer, or you can come to the pit road and have 8 less laps of fuel to go in, which could be a couple of seconds, and help you leapfrog positions. And given how close the racing is, a couple of seconds is huge.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, those 7 laps, that was about 7 seconds of stationary time to get the fuel on board, and that's exactly what you're going to be saving at the end of this race. If you can get 7 more laps than anybody else, it could be about 7 seconds less stationary time in pit lane, and that's a huge deal when we're talking about milliseconds on the racetrack. It is absolutely nothing usually covered through the field, and I am seeing a couple more people just coming in for an extra little top up before this caution ends. And yeah, it's a big gain for very little effort on the track as well. So, forming up 2 by 2, it's Southern Stars up the front with Darren McKenzie and Adam Malone up front, going to be leading away. They've got Troy Davidson and Gary Wellman behind him. Gary Wellman recovering after that early little moment. And this is probably what he was looking for, is just something to reset everything, get himself settled down and get himself back into this race and get himself up to the front, hopefully for some bonus points as well, because that could be crucial in the championship fight here. Southern Stars are going to be hoping for a good night tonight as well, help the team's championship a little bit, and get themselves closer to the Sim Boys too, because not only are the drivers going for the championship, there is the team's championship in there well, and that is such a hard-fought category, and Southern Stars would dearly love to get the victory there ahead of the Sim Boy swarm. Pace car will be pulling in any moment into pit lane, and we will go to the restart zone to go back to green flag racing here for the Charlotte Speedway round of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellars. And away we go. The green flag drops, and away goes Malone and McKenzie, getting away beautifully together. They pull out a nice little bit of a lead, and McKenzie's going to drop straight down into that gap ahead of Troy Davidson, get himself in the lead with Malone, and try and build up a little bit of a gap here over the rest of this swarm of cars. See Peter Madison dropping down nice and low there, trying to take a nice early entry into the corner, getting underneath Kim Rothy as they go through the corner. Back to green flag racing now on lap number 11, and number 12 ticks over. 122 to go here tonight at Charlotte.
Big blink there from our race leader Malone, but he's back there, nice and stable now. That'll be a little bit of a worry.
It's been their Achilles heel really for Southern Stars, is internet connection issues and bad luck with computers and things like that. We see Darren McKenzie often struggle with some kind of random problem that comes out of nowhere that just is really bad luck constantly. He tends to be one of those drivers that just has bad luck in the spoonful. So hopefully that won't happen tonight. But they've got a massive swarm of Sim Boys behind them. 4 of the team with Donnelly, Maxfield, Davidson and Wellman. Got Aidan Schultz in the Golden Octopus car coming up quickly there as well in 7th position. He is going to try and slot himself between Chris Finley and the rest of the Sim Boys, but you can see they're starting to work together. A little bit of bump drafting going to be happening, I am sure, between Maxfield and Wellman, and they are running as close as possible as well to use that draft to an effective asset for the car, just to make themselves a bit longer, reduce the drag, help the slipstream, help the aero, and gain a little bit more speed here, and try and get themselves up front ahead of the 2 Southern Stars, who are doing an excellent job at the moment, keeping themselves in the lead. And looks like that high line is really perilous tonight. I've watched a fair few cars up there, and they've really been struggling, especially through the exit of 4, running up so close to the wall.
Yeah, I was holding my breath there with Gary Wellman. He went to the high side of turn 3 and 4. I was like, oh, he's going to be able to keep it off the wall, but he was able to keep it off that, and then he was able to keep the speed as well. But I think he's going to look at moving down to the low line now.
Yeah, they've all slotted down low now. You've got Aidan Schultz sitting up high at the moment, as Adam Malone just has a little bit of a blink there as well. Not too bad to be blinking up the front, because there's nobody around you that's going to be causing too much problem, and having a teammate behind you just gives you a little bit more confidence as well. Aidan Schultz slots down to the low line as well, and now it's just Kim Roffey and Justin Whitcher up there, although Aidan jumps right back up high again, gets himself ahead of those cars, trying to get themselves up this group a little bit at the moment, but it just looks a bit perilous out there. They're just really struggling through 3 and 4 at the moment. Nobody's able to really pitch it down right on the low line. The car just seems to be wanting to walk up high at the moment, and that is going to be causing all kinds of bother with lateral sliding, and that's going to hurt the tyres a lot more as well. As you see Troy Davidson in the background there, just really launches himself sideways up the track, and that's going to scrub those tyres so quickly, wear them down faster than the rest of those drivers. You do not want to be doing that this early in the race.
No, I'm just trying to remember, we've in the past we've had issues with tyres here or not. Not sure if they've managed to wear the tyres down to close to 0% or not on this track. I don't think the surface is too abrasive, is it?
No, I mean, I know we did have, I'm trying to think where it was, but we had somewhere where it was absolutely chewing up the tyres, and we had quite a lot of punctures. They have got some extra tyres tonight, so 4 sets of tyres in all. So set they start on, and then they've got 3 extra sets, which is a lot more than we used to have with the single set sort of races. So I think should be fairly okay for tyres. But I think wear could be an issue here tonight, because they are really getting a lot of lateral movement in the cars. So just looking through the field at the moment, Tom Pritchard there with Craig Roffey, and Craig's sort of sitting in 14th position. He's not really moved up the field at all in this race, and that's going to be critical for the championship, because he's got Andy Barber right behind him at the moment. And Andy Barber, if he can get past and get his way up to the front here, that could really help his championship hopes. He is sitting 5th at the moment, and well, a fair few points off the lead. He's 20 points off the lead at the moment. So if he can get a good night tonight, that could really leapfrog him up the order at the moment. And especially if he can finish a fair few places ahead of Craig Roffey and Kim Roffey there as well. Kim Roffey's dropped down a few positions too, and that's not good for his championship hopes.
No, another driver needs a really good finish. Yeah, sitting all in about the mid-teens, aren't they? So, not sure if they're just sitting there deliberately or not, or whether it's a outright speed thing. But I think they might be just happy to just coast around the back for the time being.
Could well be in slight fuel conservation mode. We've seen that a few times from these drivers, where they just want to just get sort of keep up with the leaders, but not consume too much fuel, and they'll happily sit behind a big pack of cars, just using that draft to their advantage to get themselves to a longer stint in the race and use a little bit less fuel. And we're seeing Justin Whitcher now in the Whitcher Electrix sponsored Pinnacle car, working his way up through the field. And he is on the move at the moment, up 14 positions at the moment, Justin Whitcher. And he will be hoping for a decent night tonight for the Teams Championship, currently sitting 38 points off the lead. It's going to be... it's not looking like it's going to be a Pinnacle car taking the championship this season, which is an odd thing to say because Pinnacle have really dominated in the series. And this year has just been, this season 3 has been a little bit rough on the team.
Yeah, it has. It looks like he's been the only one that's been able to get that high line working. He's making up, and perhaps maybe the high line has come in now. But yeah, he's making good gains on that outside line, and he's been the only person I've seen that's been able to do it. I think Schultz is in the background there having a go. See if he can get some positions on that high line too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've seen a few laps where Aiden Schultz has sort of been happy up in the high line. He's been up there all race long at the moment and seemed pretty comfortable up there. But Whitcher is the first driver to really be making pace up on the high line, and is coming along really well at the moment. Right beside Darren McKenzie now, and is looking to get himself up into the lead of this race. Going to try and slingshot his way through the high side, see if he can get in front for this lap. Darren McKenzie's going to be pushing along Adam Malone at the moment, trying to stop that from happening. And you can see there they are really pushing hard at the moment, which is able to really take advantage of that high line, which will give him better purchase off the corner as well. The beauty about running the high line is it gives you a little bit better exit speed, although the low line will always give you a slightly quicker way round the corner. So you sort of gain and lose in different parts of the track. But which has definitely got some good pace at the moment as they come to the line side by side. Absolutely nothing covering the two cars there. 6 milliseconds. Absolutely nothing between those two there. It always staggers me sometimes, just the closeness of the racing.
Yeah, and all the other drivers at the back there, back of this pack, they've seen Whitcher make that work, and they've all decided that they're going to get up there as well. Oh, here we go.
And there's contact between McKenzie and Whitcher, and that's going to be a huge crash down at the start-finish straight. Kim Roffey gets caught in that one, and Darren McKenzie's night is looking pretty much done. That was a huge accident there between those cars. And just to add misery to Darren McKenzie, he's just tried to get out of the way. And Brian Blundell's just clipped him as he was getting back onto the track. Let's see what happened there, and let's see what caused this incident here on lap 28. So coming on to the quad oval section, and they are very close. And it's contact from behind. Todd Maxfield, I think that was, just clipping the back of Darren McKenzie. That's pitched him up into Justin Whitcher. McKenzie's gone down. Aiden Schultz has just narrowly missed all of that. Same for Peter Madsen. Yeah, he absolutely just squeaked through there. Then you see pitching the car up. Troy Davidson goes up, catches Kim Robbie. Chris Finley gets caught down low, and Craig Roffey just makes it through as well. Craig Roffey got very lucky there too. And that was a big accident at the front of the pack. When you have a crash like that, it is going to cause all kinds of problems.
Yeah, I'm surprised we've got so few cars really got involved and tied up in it, given that it happened right at the front. So a number of drivers have managed to navigate their way through, luckily. Like Kate Donnelly there, basically the car's just opened in front of him.
Quite a few lucky survivors in that wreck, you've got to say.
So we have a
look. Let's jump on board here.
Donnelly's on board. Oh, he's a little bit of damage, but yeah, he's managed to get through there. Wowza.
That was very close for the 41. And yeah, he's got very little damage on the car after that as well. He got away very, very luckily in that one. But that's changed the group of cars. So Justin Whitcher, Kim Roffey, Troy Davidson, Brian Blundell, Darren McKenzie, all out in that incident effectively. And that's really hurt their race. Troy Davidson's back out on track, so they're going to get out before they lose a lap here. But I imagine there's quite a few repairs needed for that group of cars.
Yeah, Kim Roffey's got damage on the front of his car there, that purple one you see on the screen. Looks like Whitcher has got away, not too bad, maybe a bit of side damage. But being a major part of that accident, he's got very little damage. Rather lucky for him there.
Yeah, that could have been so much worse for that Pinnacle car. It really could have destroyed it. Aidan Schultz has come out the pit lane in the lead here, so he's going to be leading away the pack with Kay Donnelly, the lucky man that survived that incident. Gary Wellman, Peter Madsen are going to be making up the next row, and this is going to help quite a few people's races here tonight. Just help them run up a little bit higher than they were standing, and it sort of close the pack up once again. So some good news here for, well, pretty much everybody in the pack. Quite a couple of cars coming in for some extra fuel. I just noticed Kobe Jordan has darted into the lane for an extra little stop of fuel and probably a little break as well, and he's got out ahead of the rest. So some good news for the pack at the moment, and well, it has changed things up a lot here. We've not really had a big green flag run, so hopefully now the pace car lights are out, we're going to see a nice green flag run here and get us some green flag stops, and it should be a little bit more possible with the field a little bit more depleted now, and a few cars are going to be running a bit slower, so that's going to hopefully make everybody a little bit more cautious in the next stage of this race here for round number 10 of 11, season 7 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Cellar, United Electrical Solutions, Hot Toddy Heating Installs, Whitcher Electrix. Big thank you to all of them for sponsoring the series, keeping it running here on Performance eStreaming.
So we see in the background a few cars having a little bit of trouble getting to the right spots. Just iRacing just calling them, giving them perhaps the wrong spot and then changing its mind. But it looks like they're sorted now.
Always the way, or in my case, usually it's because I'm taking a big sip of water as I'm driving along and completely forget where I am on the road, and then all of a sudden go, oh wait, I'm on the wrong line. So easy to do, but they've all sorted themselves out. Pace car's going to come in, and the Golden Octopus car, the number 52, is going to be leading the pack away. Kate Donnelly on his high side as we go back to green flag racing here. Lap 31, 103 to go here tonight at Charlotte. And we are back to green flag racing. It's Aidan Schultz in the lead. Kate Donnelly, Gary Wellman, Peter Madison are top 4 at the moment. Adam Malone sitting in 5th with Tom Pritchard up there as well. Adam Johnson having a good run up in 7th. There's Aidan Schultz has made contact with Kate Donnelly up the front.
Still going.
Oh, what happened there? And that's caused a big checkup on the track. So what has happened there? So let us go back and have a look at it.
Just trying to work out what happened on this one. Sorry, I have to find where we need to be.
there was contact. So Kate Donnelly and Aidan Schultz have made contact just on the exit of the corner. Looks like Schultz has just run up a little bit in front of Donnelly, just scrubbed up a little bit in that early stage. And we saw that at the start of the race, people struggling through the first corner. And then Peter Madsen's come by and just tapped the side. It's just the slightest tap on Aidan Schultz, who was just moving up. And that's gone straight in to Kate Donnelly, who made heavy contact into Adam Malone. That is a huge accident. Big crash there at the front of the field again. And yeah, that is a big moment there. And Adam Malone, absolutely no fault of his own. That was a big hit there. And that's taken a couple of other cars out of the race. And I think I saw another person just collect the side of Schultz when he came to a stop. So that sort of, it was a roll-on effect from that first incident, really, you've got to say.
It was really. It sort of got them all checked up, and because they're all on top of each other, it just contributed just to adding up more and more. And I was just looking, I saw Craig Roffey dodge the bullet and get through there really well. So this is, we'll show the onboard from Roffey.
He is using up all of his 9 lives at the moment. And so far, oh, jeez, that was close.
You do that at speed. Completely unsighted. There's a car. Oh, it's coming down. So, yes.
That was absolutely right place at the right time. That was so close. Todd Maxfield as well, just absolutely, skin in the cat there. Absolutely getting by the skin of his teeth. That was so very close to a couple of big secondary incidents there. And that's just how quick it can happen on a oval like this. Is you do not have that much time to react. You just have that sort of millisecond just to sort of just jink the car left or right, and it's almost on instincts. You don't have time to actually think about it.
And we're seeing that already. Like Schultz got drilled, I think, by the Shell car. Yeah, Andrew Carr, I think it was. He ended up absolutely drilling Aiden Schultz when he came down the track there. But it would have been one of those things where he would have last moment picked where he was and gone, and then all of a sudden the car slid down and it's in front of him there, and he's got nowhere to go. He can't stop in time, and he's ended up just drilling them and doing damage to his car, or doing damage to both cars.
Yeah, it's such a short time that you have to react in those situations, and it's why we say hold your brakes in a situation like that, because if holding on to the brakes, it gives you a chance to actually sort of work out where a car is, and you don't have to guesstimate it as much. So that's always the main thing.
It's often just a split second, isn't it, whether you go left or right, and you don't always make the right decision. You might pick the right, and then it ends up being the wrong one. So, but yeah, you've only got a split second to make that decision based on what you see in front of you.
Yeah, it is really close stuff. So Peter Madsen up front is going to be taking the lead. So he's had a solid race so far, and again, being one of those drivers just able to keep himself out of trouble tonight, which has been an important thing. He's going to be right next to Gary Wellman for this restart. So 2 green cars up at the front. Craig Roffey, who managed to avoid a lot of that carnage, has worked his way up into 5th next to Andy Barber, who's up 17 positions so far. A really good run from Andy Barber tonight, starting right down the order, but absolutely working his way through the field, getting himself up into a nice position. So this is, again, there's a lot at stake here. The championship battlers, though, they are all up at the front at the moment, other than Kim Roffey, who got caught out in that one. But Gary Wellman and Craig Roffey right up there. Chris Finlay, he has managed to avoid a little bit of the carnage as well, but he's dropped down a fair few positions. So it's going to be close, I think, and that's going to close up the championship battle here as the pace car pulls in, and we're about to go back to green flag racing here. 98 laps remaining, and away they go. Madison gets a nice start on the low line. catches the rest of the field napping a little bit, and Wellman's going to drop down nice and early in front of Tom Pritchard there. Another driver working his way up to the front nicely. Wellman gets a really massive run out of 3 and 4. What happened there? Madison almost looked like he had a little bit of a moment going into those corners. They just absolutely shot past him from nowhere.
It was a big power move, that one.
Absolutely caught Madsen by surprise there, and that was just shows just how much of a slingshot you can get. As somebody sideways in the background, I think it was Parianastakis just getting sideways in the group of cars. He just saved it though, kept it running and kept it moving in the right direction. Nice save there from Anastakis. Rothy and Wellman now battling it out on track, door banging between the two at the moment. The championship battlers are battling it out on track here tonight. Remember, Craig Rothy comes into this race with a 14-point lead over Gary Wellman, and he's just decided just to pull back a little bit there after they got very close, made a little bit of contact, swapped a little bit of paint, and now we're getting back into this fight. Madison back on that low line, looking to make a run on Rothy and trying to get that slipstream if he can and use that to his advantage. Tom Pritchard, meanwhile, has made it up into the lead of the race, and the front pack have broken away from the rest. So Justin Whitcher is at the back of this group, and Noddy Tompkins leads the second pack at the moment, while the front group run away of 8 cars here at the front.
It's been pretty weird. Like, there's been, every time we've had a green flag a restart, we've ended up seeing 2 packs formed. Yeah, there's obviously a group of cars who are just going to go flat out, and then there's another group who might be just saving a little bit.
Yeah, you get the idea that they're just running around to a fuel number at the moment and not running at full pace. Quite a few of those cars in that group have got a bit of damage though, so they're not quite at the ultimate pace. So I wonder if that's starting to affect them a little bit too. You see Chris Finley and Kay Donnelly right up there at the front of that group. Both of those cars have a little bit of damage. Donnelly quite a lot of damage, so he's not going to be able to run at the same pace as the leaders, but they are keeping good pace at the moment, and that could be good for the fuel numbers. Quite a lot of cars up the front struggling with grip at the moment as well. Seen a fair few cars getting loose in the mid corner, just losing that mechanical grip through the corner, and the back end stepping out on them, and that has caused quite a few little moments through the front of this pack as Andy Barber takes the lead for the race. Up 22 spots tonight. Andy Barber sailing his way through the pack. The number 5 is on fire here tonight.
Might be an omen for tomorrow. Number 5 powering up to the front. Of course,
Absolutely.
The final race of the NASCAR season's tomorrow, and Kyle Larson, the number 5 car, is in that.
Oh, it would be nice. It's always exciting this time of year, crowning champions and finishing seasons. And we've got one more race to finish for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, but we are looking forward to crowning a champion for Season 7. And also getting a little bit of break over Christmas, of course. But Todd Maxfield now flying up towards the front. The number 16 Simboy is leading the charge now, getting himself ahead of the Southern Stars cars. And again, Teams Championship, that's going to be important because so far, Southern Stars are sitting a little bit higher at the moment. They are having a good run. This could be good news for their championship hopes. And they could do with a big points haul here tonight after losing Darren McKenzie from this race. They still have Andy Barber, Tom Pritchard.
And Malone's parked it, I think. I don't see
Yeah,
him as being in the car.
We've lost Adam Malone. I think he might get back out, but no, I think he's done for the night. So yeah, they've lost 2 of their cars from this race, unfortunately. But attrition has been fairly high here tonight. We've lost a fair few cars from this race.
Yeah, I see 6 cars, 6 drivers not in their cars anymore, and then another 2 long term in the pits. So yeah, about 8 cars so far out of 25.
Yeah, and it's been tricky, and
We're only 46 laps in of 134 laps. There's
I
still a
know
long way to go.
it's been a really rough night out there, and I think that the cars are just so on the edge here tonight. I think that's showing because we've seen a lot of these little incidents happening just where a car's just got a little bit loose in the mid corner or just a little bit tight on the exit of the corner, causing big accidents. And that's sort of been the story of the night so far, where we've just had these little tiny moments. And normally in a race they wouldn't really cause that much of an accident, but I think tonight, because it sort of exacerbated a little bit and they're running so close as always, it is turning into a little bit of a more problematic thing. So that has changed things up. A couple of cars are starting to close in.
Yeah, that
on
second group's
the
caught
back.
up.
Yeah.
They've decided to put the hammer down and they've closed up quite a bit.
So the top 14 covered by 2.8 seconds. Peter Madsen gets sideways, goes into Tom Pritchard. Oh, it's going to get messy back there. Who was that going sideways up there? I think that may have been Troy Davidson, was it?
Davidson's
It
around.
was, yeah, big crash. And again, a little tiny moment in the mid corner for Peter Madison. Back end of the car just stepped out on him going into 3 and 4, and Todd Maxfield sort of caught him going in through the corner, and that sent his car around. He'd gone down into Tom Pritchard, tried to save the car. He did, but unfortunately Troy Davidson was trying to slow down and lost the car going into that sort of accident. So it was a secondary accident for Troy Davidson behind. So we see here Madison gets that car sideways, gets it all locked up, squiggle, saves it. Troy Davidson sees what's happening, goes to avoid the wreck, loses the car, spearheads himself right into his teammate Chris Finlay, and that is unfortunately for Finlay as well, who is up there in the championship, gets a huge T-bone into the car, and then Kobe Jordan, I think that was, just unsighted, sort of didn't see the car moving in time and went straight into the back there of Davidson.
It's really interesting looking at Madson's car here. You can really see he's got the steering wheel cranked and it's just not turning, like it's pushed tight. I mean, you see here when he comes down, and you can see his front wheels are really turned down. He's really trying to turn, but it's just got no grip and it's just sliding up the track.
Yeah, this track is perilous tonight, and it's really catching people out. I mean, track temperature's not that high. It's only 27 degrees out there tonight. Air temperature 26 degrees. So, it's not like it's monstrously hot or anything, but these guys are really struggling with the front end tonight, and that seems to be the story of the race.
Yeah, that's pretty unfortunate there. Getting hit there right after the fact. That will be, I would say for Davidson, that will be a big repair job.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night now, and it's a big painful one. It wasn't Kobe Jordan, sorry. I was looking from afar.
The 99.
Derek Jacobs,
Yeah.
might have been. Yeah, it was Derek Jacobs, unfortunately. Our American driver just goes into Troy Davidson. I think he sort of saw a gap up high, went for it, but Troy just started to move the car just as he was getting to the accident, and unfortunately, not enough time to stop it in that situation. So again, one of those situations after the incident where we've seen contact, just because a driver's just going to recover, and unfortunately there's another car coming along just because the pack was split up a little bit. And again, just that sort of thing of just checking your relatives and just making sure you hold the brakes until everybody goes past, really. So 52 laps into the race, 82 to go here. and it has been a very, very tough race.
Yeah, I effectively see about 9 cars out of the running. So 8 of them, no driver in the car, retired, and then Mackenzie's still there. He might be just spotting for his teammates and helping them out at the moment, and maybe hoping to get back out for some repairs done on his car, just for his team's championship points.
Yeah, it sort of could be crucial, and with the attrition we've had tonight, you could easily find yourself scoring quite a few points here by just circulating the car at the end of this race. Because, as we say, we've seen a lot of drivers out early in this race tonight, unfortunately, and it has been a tough one for this field of drivers. And as we sort of kept saying there, just the car just looks really troublesome to drive tonight. It just does not seem to be wanting to work.
No, it doesn't. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird seeing them so much on edge. Not used to it.
Yeah, normally the aero sort of counteracts any issues that you normally get, especially on a track like this. Charlotte is sort of it's a pretty sort of standardy sort of track. I mean, banking's a little bit higher, and just wonder if they're just scrubbing the front tyres a bit too much. As I said earlier in the race, it looked like the cars were just really getting a lot of lateral movement, and I wonder if they're scrubbing the front tyres too much and they are overheating them and dropping them off too quickly. And then, as we saw with Peter Madison, the car just did not want to turn.
Yeah, and he had a lot of wheel cranked in that. You could see in the front tyres that he was really trying to crank the steering wheel, and it was just not responding. There was just no grip. He was sliding out the track.
Yeah, and it sort of snowballs when you have that situation, because you sort of oversteer it. If you're having to crank the steering wheel that much through a corner at speed, it creates more heat, it creates more wear, it creates more problems, and you end up just sort of compounding the situation. Unfortunately, it's a really hard thing to get used to. Racing cars on ovals is you almost want no steering. You just want the car to follow the track as it goes round, and if you have to really crank the steering wheel, it causes a lot of problems. So I think that might be what we're seeing here tonight. But we are about to go green. It's Justin Whitcher in the lead in the Whitcher Electrix Pinnacle car up the front, takes the flag, and we go back to green flag racing here. Lap 54 of the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellar. It's race 10 of 11 here tonight, the penultimate round, before we go to our championship shootout next time out. So away nicely, and they are... I imagine we should see a bit of a green period here. I said that a few cautions ago, I think. But I'm hoping we see everybody just settle down a little bit and just try and get some good green flag running in here tonight. We're 79 laps to go, so there's going to be a couple of pit stops needed to get to the end as well. But with the depleted field now from those incidents and quite a few cars that are going to be limping around, hopefully we should see everybody just a little bit more cautious now, and hopefully see a nice long green period here, because I don't think we've had more than about 20 laps of green flag racing so far, Matt.
No, we've got no idea how the car's going to perform over the long run. It looks like it gets pretty hard to drive after just 20 laps, because that's all we've sort of had.
Yeah, I think the longest stint so far has been about 20 laps, and it does look really, really tricky out there. And even in the long run, it's definitely dropping the front grip levels down. So that could be crucial information. If we get a long green period here, somebody that's good at saving those tyres could really come through the field and absolutely come away with a victory here tonight with a car that's working for the front end. But we've got to have those laps to get it actually get it working effectively. Up the front, though, it's Whitcher and Maxfield side by side, battling it out for the lead. And we've seen these two up the front for a fair few laps. And Maxfield's having a good run so far here tonight in the 16, the grey flavoured Simboy. It's good to see him up the front. And the Hot Toddy himself is right up at the front of the field. And keeping Justin Whitcher honest at the moment. right behind him, we've got Adam Johnson, who's doing a nice job of just keeping that car out of trouble so far. He's just keeping that car in a good position in the Kingsman Racing entry and not pushing too hard up the front, but that's paying dividends at the moment. Gary Wellman sits behind with Craig Roffey, the two championship rivals, battling it out on track as well. And they got Peter Matson, who absolutely survived that last incident. That car absolutely was looking like it was going to be a big wreck for him, but he managed to save it at the last minute, and that's kept him inside the top 5 here tonight.
I almost think Roffey and Wellman are just hanging it back a bit now and just content to sort of ride for a while.
Yeah, championship implications. If you have a big accident now, it could be very hard when we head off to the Super Speedway next time out. And that's the thing, is you sort of, when you're fighting for a championship, you sort of have to put a little bit more thought into that in a race like this, because you want to just be ahead of those championship rivals. Of course, a win is always nice, but as long as you finish ahead of your championship rivals, that's the thing you're going to be counting on. I think this is going to be a tough night for the teams championship. As we said, there's a lot of cars out who are fighting for the teams championship at the moment, and Southern Stars have had a horror of a night so far. But they've still got Tom Pritchard and Andy Barber inside the top 10. So as long as they can have a good finish here tonight, they can help just try and close the gap on another team that's had a bit of a horror show, and that's the Sim Boys. They've got Todd Maxfield and Gary Wellman up in the top 10 at the moment, but the majority of their other cars have taken some heavy damage here tonight, and Todd Maxfield's car is not completely clean. There's a little bit of damage down the side of it, but it's definitely still working at the moment.
Yeah, it's almost like out of the 4 teams drivers, 2 of them have had a bad night and the other 2 have been pretty good, and that seems to be the case for all the teams, really.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, sorry, I was just observing Roffey's just sitting, Kim Roffey's just sitting on the outside of the top 10 and 12th.
Yeah, we'd be happy with a decent result tonight. Taking that victory was, I think, a little bit of a surprise to Kim, and it sort of came out of a bit of a surprise for everybody. He had a really good run though, and he's had a solid season, just sitting sort of inside the top 10 and being there or thereabouts. And the 099 has definitely been improving this season, and just doing a good job of scoring the points and being consistent, and that's been a key feature for a lot of these drivers. It's a big thing to have. Winning is fantastic, but if you can be consistent, that can really pay off. Just watching up there as well, and just watching the front runners now as well on that low line. Justin Whitcher seems really happy up on that high line again. He seems to be able to make the car work, but everybody on that low line is struggling to get that car through the corner. They are really, really getting sort of, the car's getting really loose in the mid corner and then just getting tight on the exit. It's not wanting to work fully, and quite a few drivers just struggling again. And this is 14 laps into this stint, so I've got to say, it looks like tyre temperature is coming up fairly often in this race, and they are just peaking a little bit, and that tighter low line is definitely gonna be a thing that will hurt that. So if you can run a bit higher here tonight, I think that's going to pay off.
Seems to be, as the run goes on, the high line is where you want to be. The only worry though is those cars on the low line, that if they lose traction, they come up into you and it can take you out.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple of times here tonight with those other incidents, just cars just getting tight on the exit and running up into the car in the high line, and that's what's caused those cautions. At least 2 of those cautions so far tonight have been caused because of that. And it's got to be a bit of a worry for those guys. If you can sort of find a nice clean spot on the high line, I think you'll be all right. But it definitely looks like that the medium to high line is the place to be in this race to keep the longevity in the tyres. It might not be the easiest line to run, but it definitely seems to be the line that's working the best for these cars. although the low line is still the quicker way around the circuit.
Yeah, they're happy to go side by side up the front here for a couple of rows. Seems pretty comfortable.
Yeah, Adam Johnson's running the high line now, and he seems pretty happy in the 960 up there. I did see Peter Madsen jumping up there for a little bit, and he's jumped back low. Looks a bit more comfortable down low. Cade Donnelly is working his way up there as well, but I think Cade is a lap down. Yeah, he is in the 41. So that car is extremely battle wounded. But he is still chugging along, and I think Cade wouldn't be too upset if we get another caution, just so he can get his lap back.
Yeah, he's currently the lucky dog, and he's the only one on the 1 lap down. The next one is Davison, who's 18 laps down. I think Davison's sitting on pit row getting a big amount of repairs.
Yeah, he had a couple of big accidents so far here tonight, and he's getting a lot of repairs done. We've lost Derek Jacobs from the race, Adam Malone, Aidan Schultz, Andrew Carr, Shane Roffey, Philip Howe, and Aaron Dillon as well, I'd say, is out. A few cars still getting some repairs and sitting on pit road, although they are in for a lengthy repair job as well. So that has shaken things up. We're coming up to Brian Blundell here, who is 27 laps down, just trying to get that car to the end of the race, and the leading pack will come up very quickly to him, and that could cause that pack just to spread out a little bit depending on where he sits, as he takes a nice tight line going into turn 1. Very nicely done there. Gets himself right out the way of the leaders, and that's the good thing about the quad ovals, is if you take a tight line going across that quad oval section, you will absolutely keep out the way of everybody else as they go soaring past. And the battle is still on up the front between Maxfield and Whitcher. Those two have been changing position every couple of moments on my timing screen. Every time I glance there, it's a different one leading, and then it will keep hopping between the two every couple of meters. Wellman's got himself right up there as well now, right behind his teammates. So the two Sim boys are going to be working together, and Peter Madsen still keeping himself up in 4th at the moment, jumping up to the slightly higher line now. We're getting very close to Wellman. Down the straight they go. So they are starting to get back into combative terms now. They've got into this stint, 22 laps into this stint now, and this is where the cars have really been struggling all race long. As they get into this longer stage of the stint, everything starts to get a bit more problematic in the car. They struggle more on the entry to the corner and struggle on the exit as well, and I wonder if we're going to see anybody having problems again as we get into the race. Only 61 laps remaining now, so we are not that far off, but when will they need to come down the lane? That's going to be the next big question. How long can they go on a green flag stint? Probably about 40 laps. It's probably a good guesstimation on sort of rough green flag running stint. It'll be about 35-40 laps. That's usually about the area we'd expect. So probably going to be seeing people trying to extend the stint a little bit just to get one more stop to the flag from here.
Yeah, it's interesting seeing them the cars move around a lot more on that corner exit. A bit more unstable.
Yeah, stability is really not there tonight for these guys, and it's as I say, it's been a problematic night here at Charlotte. And Charlotte's a track that is not the easiest oval to run on. It's a 1.5 miler, and it's sort of, you look at it and you go, well, it's not that different from any other track that we go to, but the camber, the way the corner runs, the quad oval itself, these little things change how the track runs, and it can really make a difference to the cars. And I know from running NASCARs here in the Cup, and the trucks and the Xfinity cars, it is a really tricky corner to get right through 3 and 4, 1 and 2 as well. You just got to get the car really settled and just get back on the acceleration at the right time. If you get on a little bit too early, you're going to end up with a whole heap of problems.
And turn 4 is always a tricky one. hit many of the I've hit the outside wall of turn 4 many a time. Just something about it when it transitions back from the banking to the flat, it just unsettles the car and
Yeah.
sends you up into the wall.
As Mark will say, there's a magnet in turn 4 here, and the cars are always attracted to it. The other thing as well, once we get to green flag stops, if we get some green flag stops, getting into the pit lane here on a green flag run is really, really tricky, and you've got to be really cautious about calling out to the cars behind you, because it's very easy to pile into the back of somebody going into the pit lane here, because it is such a fast entry. And then it's always tricky slowing the car down and actually getting it in the right position too. So it's a perilous track to be running on. It's very easy to make some big mistakes. And if we see some green flag stops, I'm sure we're going to see a few people struggling to get the car in and stopped in time. But meanwhile, we've got some good racing up the front. It's still Justin Whitcher and Todd Maxfield leading the two lines, but Peter Madsen and Gary Wellman are having a great battle behind as well. We see Kobe Jordan up there with Cade Donnelly. Cade Donnelly is a lap down, remember, so Kobe Jordan having a really strong night, up 20 positions in P5. The 080 Inside Lane Productions car is having a good run at the moment.
The cars, this front bunch seems to have got a lot more energised recently, so I think, yeah, you're right, I think we're starting to think about pit stops, and maybe they've decided they're now within their window to make it on one more pit stop, so that they're just going to hammer down now.
Yeah, if it's, you could easily split it now and do another 30 laps on the stint. So they're well within range of getting in and getting to the end from here. So it's going to be who blinks first. And obviously you don't want to lose the pack too much, but you also don't want to find yourself in a position where you're stuck up on the high line running low on fuel, because that can be a horrible situation to be in, trying to slither your way back down to the inside lane, as we see Justin Whitcher still battling it out up the front and dropped down low for a couple of laps, but now it's gone back up into the high line as they come across the line here for lap 82 of the race. Longest stint we've seen so far in the green flag run. We're in 31 laps now of this sort of run since the last stop for in caution period. So we're sort of in unknown territory now as well of how the cars are going to go. We've seen them really struggling sort of once they get to about 20 laps, but now we're in 30 laps. Speeds have dropped down even more, about a second off, about 1.4 seconds off the pace of fresh tyres. So they are dropping on pace. So that's the other thing as well, of course. If you come in for tyres now, it's going to take a little bit longer in the stint, but you get a full tank of gas, you get some fresh tyres, and you're going to be running much quicker than the rest of the cars out there, even in this little pack.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if people opt not to take tyres, whether they go for a fuel only, if it's going to be a green flag pit stop, because they might have taken tyres at the last caution. So many unknowns because we haven't had a really good, long green flag run before. We don't know what tyre wear's like. We don't know if we can double stint tyres or so it's interesting to see if anyone's prepared to roll the dice.
Yeah, I wonder how many people swapped tyres in the caution flag stops as well, because they didn't really get much running on those tyres. It was very much a short run situation. So they could still have a fair few tyres up their sleeves here to go to the end, and that could be critical here. You want to save yourself a set of tyres for the end, just in case there's that green light checker, because that can be a godsend when you've got those fresh boots. But if I'd say it'd be worth changing them now. I mean, just the loss in pit road. So it'd be interesting to see what people do. Nolly Tompkins having a good run up towards the front there, 10 positions up, gets very close to the wall coming out of 4, but he is absolutely flying next to Parry Anastakis. And Parry's had a quiet night so far, but he is having a strong run. inside of the top 10. A good night for the Rogue Sim Sports team. So, Kobe Jordan just getting very close to the wall there on the quad oval. So 36 laps into this stint now, so 47 to go. So it's just really how long can they go on this stint. If they can get an extra 6 laps in a tank, then they can make it home with one more stop. With no more stops even. So that's also going to be a critical thing. If you can make it with no more stops, that's going to save you a huge amount of time. But we're sort of in unknown territory now into this race of how long they can go. As I say, Justin Whitcher just caught the wall heavily coming out of the quad oval. That is a huge amount of damage to the number 12 Pinnacle car. Just got caught. I don't know what happened there. He got a big run on Gary Wellman, and he just flipped up to avoid him, but just got loose and just absolutely nailed the wall. And the right side of that Mustang is looking very second-hand indeed.
And it's allowing the front two cars to skip away a little bit too.
Yeah, Maxfield and Wellman are working well together here just to sail away from that pack. And looks like Whitcher is just taking that damage, has just slowed the car down and just causing problems there. And the rest of the pack are sort of sitting behind him, just going, yeah, we're happy where we are at the moment. Not really trying to get a run at the moment on Whitcher, who just looks like he's struggling for pace now. He might be able to get back in the slipstream here of Wellman and get himself closer, but he's just really struggling. And now he's getting to the point where he's going to lose that slipstream. He's almost a second behind. So that is going to drop him right behind, and the rest of the pack just sort of sitting there, just not wanting to get past. And I wonder if a few of those guys are just fuel saving at the moment, or if they're just not able to get the pace.
No, but I'm a bit worried because it seems to be bottling them up a little bit. So we could see some caution action come from this.
Yeah, it's
all just on top of each other now, aren't they?
Yeah, it's really closed up that group of cars, and they're too deep behind, and just if they can go faster here, which it looks like they should be able to, it's very easy just to misjudge the speed and have a bit of an accident when you're really grouped up like that. But it just doesn't look like they want to run past at the moment, and they're sort of happy sitting where they are, which are almost pulling away a little bit here, and might be just getting back to the slipstream of those other cars. So it's a bit weird, isn't it?
It is very weird holding pattern, really. But I guess the critical thing is we're up to almost lap 93, so we would think if they can make lap 94, they should be able to make it home. Here we go.
And around goes Madison with Craig Roffey, and yeah, they can make it home from here. But the caution flag is out, and that's going to change things up completely. And what has happened to Peter Matson here? He was sitting behind, and just maybe a little bit of contact from Roffey behind there. He sort of wandered up the track a little bit, just again, really struggling to get that car turned. And Craig Roffey's just gone down the inside, made a bit of contact. Everybody's made it through, though. And Madsen took a big hit to the wall. But other than that, they all sort of made it through relatively unscathed.
Almost looks like Roffey saw an opening down the bottom, but then it closed on him just as quick as he went for it.
Yeah, it was that thing of the gap sort of opened up. It looked like Madsen just was again struggling to get that car turned in, and then just almost got the car, came back to him, and then of course just getting sideways down the back of the track and takes a big slap into the wall. Okay, everybody into pit lane now, unsurprisingly. And I would say it's going to be fuel and tyres here for everybody. It's not going to be worth risking it on an old set of tyres from here, I would imagine.
No, especially under where you can take the time under caution to grab some tyres. It's not going to hurt you so much as it would if you were under green flag conditions.
Yeah, very much so. It's with the amount of time they'll be able to gain with fresh tyres, it's sort of a no brain move to get the tyres here and get going. But I wonder if anybody's decided to try and do right side only, just changing 2 sets of tyres, maybe trying something a little bit different. Parianastakis had a very good pit stop, and that's got him out in the lead. He was only stationary for about 14 seconds, whereas the rest were about in the 20s. So I wonder if Anastakis here is just taking just 2 sets of tyres maybe, and a little bit less fuel than the rest, and is just going to be having to save a little bit, clutch it a little bit, but still be able to make it to the end.
Yeah, I think there's some no stop options in there. I mean, if we look at, actually, I'll check out the graphic for it. So pit box time, I think we can see Madson's sitting still for a long time. He's getting repairs done, but it's just juggled out of order. It's not going to work, but we just describe it to you anyway because it's all out of order. But yeah, I mean, Anastakis stationary in the pit box 14.5 seconds, Craig Roffey 18.9, Todd Maxfield 22 seconds, but then Gary Wellman 31 seconds stationary time. So whether he's netted the big amount of fuel or whether he's decided to do fuel and tyres at the same time.
Yeah, I don't see any damage on Wellman's car, so I can't see it being repairs. So maybe just put a bit too much fuel in, maybe didn't have it set correctly. That's always a possibility. Because we all know how easy it is to accidentally add a bit too much fuel into the car, and that can leave you stationary for a long old time. But that's shaken up the order a little bit because now we've got Parianastakis and Craig Roffey up at the front for Rogue Sim Sports. Noddy Tompkins in third with Todd Maxfield fourth. Tim Blundell up in 5th position. A good run from Tim Blundell so far tonight in the 81. He's got Gary Wellman just behind him with Tom Pritchard, Adam Johnson, Andy Barber, Kim Roffey, Justin Whitcher, Chris Finley, Cade Donnelly, who will be back on the lead lap, Peter Matson, who's just getting out of pit lane now, and Kobe Jordan in the 080 in 15th position. So that's going to shake the pack up a little bit here, I think, and give some people opportunity to get some repairs done, give some people an opportunity to get some fresh boots on, and we're going to see a charge to the flag here in the final 36 or so laps.
Yeah, it should be all no holds barred now. Everyone should be able to make it, and everyone will be looking to just go hard till the end.
Yeah, it's going to be the aggression levels will be tweaked up now, and we've seen so far tonight with 5 cautions, aggression has been up high all race long, but a lot of changes for the lead as well, just as people have just been really fighting hard up at the front of the field. So it's going to be interesting to see what people can do here to the run to the flag, who gets it right, who gets it wrong, and who will come out the winner of tonight's race. This is the penultimate round before we have our championship decider at Daytona next week, of course. Make sure you are here for that one. Hit the old subscribe button to make sure you don't miss out next week at Daytona for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellars, of course. If you're in the need for wine storage solutions, get in contact with them. They are absolutely fantastic at it. So, Parianastakis is going to be leading us away here into the restart zone. He's got his teammate on the outside. Should give him the opportunity to get away nicely. And Anastakis does get away. Builds up a fair, decent gap in front, which is going to let Craig Roffey slide in behind him. Todd Maxfield moves up into third, just ahead of Noddy Tompkins there, and Gary Wellman getting away well too. He should be finding himself right up there. Really been a little bit spread out at the moment, as they will be getting tyres up to temperature. The car, Todd Maxfield and Craig Roffey make contact. They just hold the car there, as Gary Wellman gets very, very loose on the exit of 4 as well. But they've got to be careful on these opening laps if they have changed tyres, because we've seen fresh tyres have been really, really awkward at the start of these races, at the start of tonight's action as well. So just get the tyres up to temperature and then get into battle, as Wellman just makes a little bit of contact with the ball. They are not looking settled at the moment. The cars are all over the place.
No, Gary's got the pedal down as well. He's trying to get right up to the front.
Yeah, he's right underneath the rear wing of his teammate. Gives Todd Maxfield a little bit of a bump into the corner as well for saying how you doing there, and that got Todd Maxfield a little bit loose through that whole corner as Wellman's trying to charge his way up there. Noddy Tompkins as well in the 119. Good to see Noddy up there at the front of the pack. Just makes contact with the wall, saves the car, just gets away with that one by the skin of his teeth. And that's got Craig Roffey right up there. And Andy Barber again, he's sitting up there in the top 5 still. So Andy Barber having a really strong night tonight. It's been a quiet night for him, but he is doing a fantastic job of keeping that car up at the front. Meanwhile, Todd Maxfield, Gary Wellman side by side coming into 3 and 4. And Gary Wellman looks like he's going to be taking the lead of this race, or at least trying to, from his teammate. But I think they're just going to be trying to lock out both lines here just to stop anybody getting the run past them. So looks like Maxfield and Wellman are going to be locking out the front row and just keeping the high and the low line locked down till the end of this race.
Yeah, it's been pretty hard to get a third lane going. Roffey's desperately trying to make the move, but Maxfield's doing a little bit of blocking there maybe.
Yeah, Maxfield's got that low line locked down, and Roffey just got a huge run and just tried to unsettle the car. He's looking to get that third line, and look at Wellman just pinching down, stopping that from happening. So that's it. The Sim Boys are locking out the front row at the moment, and they are going to be defending like nothing else at the moment. They've got to be careful not to block too much, because they will eventually get somebody slightly irked at them. And it won't take long for somebody to give them a little bit of a punt, a Reno, and send them around for a bit of a bump and run situation. But they've sort of got split up at the moment, and you can see Roffey is really, really trying at the moment to get past, but he just cannot do it as it stands. And the Sim Boys are doing a great job of keeping themselves up there.
Yeah, the more it happens, here we go, we're going to go 3 wide through the middle. The more it happens, the more opportunity there is for someone to make a bit of a desperate move and do a 3 wide and clean out everybody. So, yeah, we'll just keep an eye on this, because this is potentially building into something.
Yeah, Roffey almost lost the car. He got really, really, really loose coming into the corner when they went 3 wide there. It just looked like the aero got lifted off the front of the car, and he had no chance of turning it, had to lift out. And that's just dropped him right behind. But now Noddy Tompkins is deciding to try and get there. But they could have an opportunity here if they sort of don't fight too much. If they can pull away from the rest of the cars, then they could make a lunge on the last lap maybe and find themselves up in the lead of the race. Only 28 laps to go here. But you can tell Roffey is desperate to try and get out in front at the moment. And Wellman and Maxfield are doing a fantastic job of stopping that from happening. And Wellman locking down the low line, Maxfield locking down the low line, Wellman the high line, and they're just not letting anybody get away with the chance to get their way through. Justin Whitcher is leading the rest of the pack behind in 5th position, and there's a whole swarm of angry cars behind him at the moment as well. So plenty of action on the track, but we'll keep our eyes at the front here because, as I say, they've been very, very racy, and the Sim Boys are doing a good job of stopping anybody from getting past. But eventually, tempers will flare, and Patience will run out here at the front, I can assure you that.
Yeah. The longer that blocking goes on, the more the chance of a bit of a wreck increases.
Sim racing drivers not known for their patience. It's not something you see in the sport. As Andy Barber's done a good job getting past Whitcher, and he's got his way up there now. And as more cars get up there as well, that's going to get more and more spicy too. So what can they do here in these last 26 laps? As they're going to try and push their way up on the high line. You could try and push Wellman ahead of Maxfield and then slide down in front of Maxfield. That's probably going to be your best opportunity, I would say, or vice versa. And it looks like that was what Rothy was going to try there and then, as he looks to be going free wide here up on the high line, as they are free wide up at the front. It's Wellman, Rothy and Maxfield, but that real high line is going to be a wall of death, and Rothy can't make it work at the moment. Gives Wellman a little bit of a nudge coming onto the quad oval.
Yeah, you can see what Rothy's trying to do. He's really trying to get a big run out of turn 2 and use that momentum down the back straight to try and get the outside line going, heading into 3 and hopefully try and clear into 3 and 4, but he just wasn't able to do it that time, but he's dropped down to the low line now.
Yeah, he's trying all of the little tricks in the big book of oval driving, and he's sort of, you can see he's trying every idea he's got in there, and they're not working at the moment, and that's going to make it tricky. And now Andy Barber is right up beside him, and that's going to lock off the highline approach for a few laps for him. As I say, I think your best opportunity is going to be pushing Wellman, although he goes down to the inside, he gets that run down on the back straight, makes it work, slides up ahead of Maxfield. Beautiful pass there from Rothy, gets himself into the lead of the race, and the big book of racebook manoeuvres worked out there for the 0-3-0. Beautiful pass on Todd Maxfield. That was absolutely textbook.
Yeah, you could see him working that out for a few laps, couldn't you? He was working out how to get a big run out of that turn 2 and down that back straight so he could, make the move to get the long side and clear it. Although Maxfield's got the big run now.
Maxfield is copying Rothy's homework there and absolutely got away with it. The teacher will be wagging their finger, but Maxfield absolutely stole that one from Craig Rothy and gets himself back up into, the lead of the low line. And that's got to be heartbreaking for Rothy, who's just going to be sitting there going, oh, that hard work. Oh, God, now I'm back behind these two.
Yeah, you can see now Maxfield's holding that low line, but that's fine. That now means that increases a gap in the middle. So if it happens again the next time around, if you get that big run, go into the middle, make it 3 wide through the middle.
And I can see somebody like Andy Barber taking advantage of that, because I think Maxfield is driving in his mirrors at the moment, watching Rothy, and that's going to give Andy Barber a shot to actually slide it through the middle somewhere along this race in the next 20 or so laps. He just needs to get that run out of turn 2 absolutely perfect. Maxfield will go down to defend against Rothy, and if Barber can actually get it worked out perfectly, he can just slot it down the middle. You see Kobe Jordan up there as well, just with Noddy Tompkins sitting about 3 cars back here. So again, some more cars joining this front pack of action, and we're starting to see this race come alive here at Charlotte Motor Speedway here tonight, and they are all getting very, very antsy now, and they are starting to get a little bit more hungry as the laps tick down. The drivers are starting to get a little bit more aggressive as Jordan and Tompkins make a little bit of contact mid-corner, a bit of door rubbing there. They make it through okay. That's another thing, is a little bit of door rubbing. Nothing bad about that. Just got to keep the cars pointing in the right direction. And Rothy is just sitting back there now and just planning what he can do, seeing what he can do in this race now. And you just get the feeling that Barber's just sitting up there going, yep, I'm waiting for Craig to make his run, and then I'll pick up the pieces.
Oh, Rick in the background.
In the background as Pritchard and Tompkins make contact, and Pritchard has gone for a massive rollover. Big wreck there for Tom Pritchard, and he is going to be feeling a little bit unwell after that one, especially if he's running in VR.
So just trying to work out what's happened here.
Looks like Tompkins just got tight, and Pritchard's just made a little bit of contact with the wall, but Tompkins got tight, went up there, bang into Pritchard. Johnson got relatively lucky in that one. He got a big hit from Tompkins, but he managed to keep the car pointing in the right direction, and that saved his race. Donnelly got a bit of contact, but Kim Rothie got the most of that one, and that really hurt him. We have got cars coming down the lane. Wellman, Rothie, Jordan, Whitcher, Johnson. Pretty much everybody behind Todd Maxfield and Andy Barber coming down the lane here. I wonder if that's for a set of tyres.
Could be. Sorry, I'm just fascinated by the slow-mo on the exit of turn 4. The rolling car with the sparks coming out of it. Poor Tom Pritchard.
Definitely a good rollover. And look, he looked much like a cat. He landed on all fours, and luckily right by the pit entry, so he managed to get the car into pit lane. Kate Donnelly not quite getting the car in the right angle for that pit stop.
He might be done for the night. He's decided to park it.
I think so. So
Maxfield and Barber didn't pit.
Did the rest come in for? You wouldn't imagine it would be for fuel, would you? But maybe they safety sake.
Wellman's stationary for 9.7. I always got confused which way around the numbers are for fuel and tyres, whether they can do tyres on 9.7. Because I think it's fuel and tyres about 30 seconds, I think.
I think the fuel is the slow one.
Yeah.
I think the tyres are the quick one, so I'd say this would be for tyres.
Could be tyres, yeah. I think everyone might have grabbed some tyres.
This might be their last set of tyres. Maybe Maxfield and Barber have used up their tyre allocation already, and that's why they stayed out.
Yeah, that would be right, because they have pitted 5 times.
Yeah.
And Wellman and Rothie have now pitted 5 times.
Yeah.
So it could be tyres. They've run out of tyres, and that's why they've stayed out.
Or are they saving a set just in case there's a green white checker and everybody else has used up their final set? That could also be the option here. So it's always a tricky little thing working out the options.
We're always trying to sort of work out based on numbers what people are doing, but it's a bit trickier.
That's it. It would be lovely if iRacing gave us an app that told us when people changed their tyres in pit stops and things like that. It would make our life so much easier. Unfortunately, we don't have that information, that critical information, and you can't watch the cars in pit lane and see their tyres coming on and off either. So you really don't have much of an idea. Unfortunately, when you're sitting up here commentating, it is a little bit of speculation, guesstimating, and really working it off the times. And that's sort of one of the drawbacks, I guess, of sim racing commentary, and one of the things that makes it slightly easier in full metal racing, because you can have somebody running down the pit lane and watching the cars when they switch tyres. So it's going to be a very, very frantic last few laps, as we see Kim Rothie, Peter Matson and Noddy Tompkins coming in just for a quick bit of extra repair work for the car. But the aggression is going to be turned up. We've got cars on different tyre strategies, different tyre lives. We've got people who are very, very hungry for race wins, for trying to extend their championship. And we've got a very depleted field now as well. We are down to just about 13 cars left running in this race. The rest of the field are pretty much out. from Cade Donnelly down. So we've lost an awful lot of cars tonight. It's been a very, very tough race for these guys. A lot of drivers getting caught up in incidents and really struggling with the cars and really struggling on this track tonight. It's caught a lot of drivers out. So it's been a tough night in the office for everybody. But in just 14 laps, they can all take a stretch, have a drink, and relax a little bit because the race will be over. Pace car will be pulling in this time round, and it's going to be Todd Maxfield leading away. The United Electrical Solution Hot Toddy Simboys entry. He has got Andy Barber on his outside for Southern Stars, and away they go. Let us see what happens here. Remember, every time we've seen cold tyres on these cars, they've been struggling for the first couple of laps. Will that be the same for those guys that came down the lane? We'll find out very shortly. But we are back to racing. Maxfield and Wellman get themselves back out in front now and lock down the front couple of rows once again. Justin Whitcher gets a good restart. He's worked his way up into third position. Andy Barber just dropping back a little bit as the two cars on the high line run a bit wide, lose a little bit of pace, and that's going to give Whitcher the opportunity to get a bit of a run here. And he's going to try and get the run underneath, see what he can do up to this race, as Maxfield and Wellman have once again gone to keeping themselves in the high and the low lane and keeping the track locked down.
Yeah, I imagine that tactic, if it gets to 5 to go, that tactic will probably not work. I imagine the cars behind will just sort of say, I've had enough, and spin them out.
Absolutely. It will be a tactical shove, I imagine, at the end of this race if they keep doing that tactic. So we'll see how that one runs through. The two cars behind, Whitcher is getting a good run here and it's got a lot of that damage repaired crucially as well on the right side of that car. So that really cost him a lot of speed. So Whitcher's back in this race. Remember how good Whitcher was on the high line. Andy Barber has had a really strong race tonight as well, working his way through the field. Same for Kobe Jordan. Both those cars up 18 and 19 positions retrospectively. So they are really running well here tonight and could be knocking on the door for a podium. Chris Finlay has come back from the brink of disaster up in 7th position. He had a big incident, got caught out. Unfortunately, no fault of his own, wrong place, wrong time. But he's going to be happy to be finishing inside this group of cars. Well, hopefully finishing inside this group of cars, because that could be a nice chunk of points for his championship run. Which are running up high as they go 3 wide across the quad oval for a brief moment. And they are racing very hard. And you can see at the low line is Roffey pushing along Maxfield at the moment, trying to get him out in front of Gary Wellman so he can slide his way up there and lock out one of the lines. Right behind them, Kobe Jordan seeing what he can do too. They are definitely getting into the idea of what they can do for this final couple of laps. Just 9 laps to go, 8 this time around. We are quickly coming to the close of tonight's proceedings in a very eventful race here at Charlotte, and it is Maxfield and Wellman leading at the moment. Which is going to get a good run here off the high line. Can he keep himself up ahead of Wellman? He's got a nose just ahead of Wellman at the moment. And a little bit of contact in the wall just saves it there for Whitcher.
Yeah, that was he was getting a butt from Barter there, which got him unsettled.
Yeah, that was very, very perilous stuff. Great driving and great control to keep the cars there. Whitcher again back up on the high line, just got the front splitter just ahead of Wellman for a brief couple of seconds. Gave Wellman a little glove tap coming out of the corner as well, and coming into the corner, just unsettled the car a little bit, and that could be the opportunity he needs, because he's again got the splitter ahead of Wellman's rear wing as they're 3 wide as they cross the quad oval here. Just 6 laps remaining, and it is 3 wide at Charlotte. It is Whitcher, Wellman and Maxfield. Who can get this working? We've seen Wellman and Maxfield locking out the 2 front spots in this race. Whitcher has decided it's time to go. Barber's given him a little bit of a bump here, trying to get him ahead of these 2 Simboys cars. Can't quite get enough speed there, coming into 3 and 4. As they are perilously close, and this is really good driving by all 3 of them keeping the cars in that position. Roffey's got nowhere to go at the moment, just behind him. There's all this contact between Wellman and Whitcher. Wellman is over. That is his night done for sure. And that was a huge accident between the two at the front.
They were doing so well. They were going 3 wide for a number of laps there, but just had a feeling it couldn't last.
Yeah, Whitcher just clipped the wall coming out the quad oval, and it just unsettled the car enough to send it down into Wellman. And Wellman's car went flying. And that, you've got to say, is not done for Whitcher and Wellman here. And that is crucial for championship points as well. Gary Wellman will want to try and get that car at least circulating just to score some points, because, well, his championship hopes are sort of going up in smoke as he lands on his roof there.
It's not great. One of those weird ones where he came to a stop on a big hurry in the fence.
Yeah, it restopped the car. Unfortunately, Tim Blundell, he had nowhere to go in that incident and made heavy contact as well. No fault of his own, just the wrong place at the wrong time in that situation. But those cars went sailing. Both Whitcher and Wellman tumbling over each other and falling down the track.
Yeah, so it was sort of born out of sort of desperation, sort of had to. It was the only way you're going to get past those 2 cars. They were controlling the front really, really well. It was going to take a move like a 3 wide, but yeah, 3 wide around here with these cars tonight doesn't last very long without trouble.
Oh, absolutely. It's been a perilous night, and well, they were doing well to run 3 wide there, but yeah, it was just that little tap on the wall that caused that accident, unfortunately, and that took those cars out of the race. And as I said, that's going to be crucial for the championship. Craig Roffey is going to be, well, he's going to have a wry smile on his face with this one. He comes into this race with a 14-point lead. If he can get a good finish now, he could be really in a key position. Kim Roffey as well. He should be finishing ahead of Gary Wellman as well, and that's going to be really useful for his championship too. He's just 2 points behind Wellman coming into this race, and he can find himself up a fair few positions, and it's going to be Craig and Kim Roffey leading the championship if they finish ahead of Wellman now. So this is real big implications for the championship. Team championship, Sim Boys still, as I said, they've got a bit of a points lead over Southern Stars, but Southern Stars, well, it's Southern Stars and Sim Boys really only with 1 car in the running now. They've not got much, not much there in the way of points contention on the track at the moment.
No, it's been a bad night for the teams.
Yeah, often we see a fair few teammates up the front at the end of these races, and really, Sim Boys have still got 2 cars in the race with Finley and Maxfield, but that's it really. It's really reduced numbers in the field. We have got 11 cars on the lead lap. Harry Anastakis up on the lead lap. Kim Roffey in for some repairs as well. So, you know, it's going to be a interesting finish here. And, well, we should be going into, I think we'll be going into overtime. We'll be going for a green-white checker here tonight. And it's really going to be a sprint to the end. So who can get this victory now is going to be down to just a couple of laps. So if you're new to the oval racing scene, first of all, welcome. We're glad to have you here. Green-white checker means that we get a little bit of overtime. So the race will finish when the next flag comes generally. So we do have 2 green-white checkers, I think, from memory. So it just gives them the opportunity to try and get the race finished under a checkered flag, under green flag conditions. But if we see a couple of extra cautions, then it will finish under the yellow flag. So This will be our first green light checker. And it's going to be Todd Maxfield leading away from Craig Rothie. And finally, for Craig Rothie, there's a car in front of them. There won't be a car in front of him, I've got to say. So it's going to be a moment of, oh, it's not a sim boy in front of me.
It's his turn to control that outside line.
Kobe Jordan's going to be right behind him on the restart. Watch out for Andy Barber as well. This could be a really strong night for Andy Barber and help his championship come alive a bit, as he was sitting down in 5th position in the championship, 20 points off the leader. He and Chris Finlay should be gaining a fair few points from this one and closing the gap a tiny bit, but it all depends where Craig and Kim Rothie finish now. Gary Wellman is his race is run as well, so he's going to be finishing no higher than 12th position. So that is a stroke of bad luck for Gary Wellman. We're so used to seeing Wellman right up the front of the field. His bad luck has all come at once tonight, unfortunately. Pace car pulls in, and we are going to be going back to green flag racing here for this green white checker shootout, and it's Todd Maxfield leading away. Good start for the low line. Craig Rothie's got a good getaway in the second section. Andy Barber pushing Todd Maxfield along a little bit there, trying to get himself up ahead of his championship rival Craig Rothie. If Barber can finish ahead of Rothie tonight, that will be a dream come true, and he's going to be trying it as they're looking to go 3 wide down the back straight. Barber going down the middle here, looking to get some run in this car. Kobe Jordan sitting just behind with Chris Finlay. Chris Finlay could come out of this with a good amount of points as well tonight. Todd Maxfield comes across the line, the white flag flies. We are going to be getting the checkered flag next time round, finishing the race. Who is going to take victory? Barber gets a good run through the corner. Maxfield just got a little bit tight there, but now Maxfield's got some good speed out the corner. Maxfield gets a good run here. Chris Finlay trying to get the run as well. Craig Rothie goes down to the inside, gets cut by Todd Maxfield a little bit here. It's going to be Barber on the high side. Can he get the run out? Rothie gives Maxfield a little bit of a shunt from the rear. Maxfield gets loose. That's going to give Andy Barber the victory here tonight. Andy Barber takes the win ahead of Todd Maxfield. Kobe Jordan sneaks in there and takes 3rd position tonight on the podium tonight for Jordan. Craig Rothie comes home in 4th. As I'll just wait for the standings to finish flickering around. Craig Rothie comes home 4th, and Adam Johnson comes home in 5th position. But Andy Barber started way down the order tonight, up 22 positions. Joint highest gain of the race with Kobe Jordan in 3rd, both up 22 spots tonight. But it's Andy Barber for Southern Stars taking victory here tonight.
Wow, what a finish. What an impressive finish there from all 4 of those cars all up the front there. They're racing really, really hard.
Yeah, they did very well not to lose the cars, as they just had a little bit of a bump just coming out the final corner, and that could have cost them a huge amount in a big crash like that, but they all managed to collect it up, and this man, Andy Barber, sailed away with the victory as the seas parted in front of them, and the number 5 comes home victorious here tonight, and that's exactly what he needed from this race. This is going to help him close the gaps a little bit on the championship, but it's also going to help Southern Stars close the gap on the Sim Boys too. So good news for them indeed. So Todd Maxwell's going to be pretty disappointed, you say, with 2nd place. He was running up the front, leading a lot of that race as well. So I'm sure he's going to be slightly disappointed, but also that could have been a lot worse. So not too bad at all. And Kobe Jordan's going to be absolutely delighted with the podium here tonight, up in 3rd position. So let's run through the finishing order. It's Andy Barber taking victory tonight with Todd Maxfield in 2nd. Kobe Jordan comes home in 3rd with Craig Rothie in 4th. Adam Johnson comes home in 5th tonight. A really strong showing from Adam Johnson, keeping his nose clean all night long. Tim Blundell delighted with a top 6 finish here tonight. Kim Rothie, that has gone well for him, up in P7 tonight. Good news for his championship ahead of Parry Anastakis in 8th. Noddy Tompkins comes home in 9th position with Peter Madsen rounding out the top 10. Chris Finlay comes home in 11th with a late race penalty. That is disastrous for Chris. And again, going to hurt the championship for the Sim Boys. Gary Wellman comes home 12th. Could be worse, but not what he would have wanted. Justin Whitcher in 13th. Cade Donnelly 14th. Tom Pritchard 15th. Troy Davidson 16th. Brian Blundell in 17th. 18th for Derek Jacobs. 19th for Adam Malone. Aidan Schultz in 20th. It's Darren McKenzie 21st with Andrew Carr 22nd. Shane Roffey 23rd. Philip out early doors in 24th, and Aaron Dillon having to pull out at the start due to some connectivity issues. So let us start tonight's final proceeding with our third place finisher for Inside Lane Productions. It's Kobe Jordan. Kobe, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a podium finish here at Charlotte. You must be absolutely delighted with this run. And look, a solid run from the back of the field tonight up to the front here in this race.
Yeah, I just looked after my gear and the car treated me well towards the end.
Absolutely. I mean, you managed to keep yourself out a lot of those incidents here tonight. That was a big key, obviously, in getting yourself up towards the front for that final run.
Yeah, the only contact I made was with the wall, and that was early in the piece. So I made sure after the first yellow came out not to make that mistake again. Took me 2 yellows to get me all my damage fixed, but once the car was fixed, it was good again.
That's great to hear. We saw it was not the easiest car to drive out there tonight for a fair few drivers. How were you handling it?
It felt like it was on rails through 1 and 2. You could hook it into that groove and just get back into it. 3 and 4 needed a bit more finesse. The car wanted to get snug on the exit. And that little hump, if you didn't treat that right, it wanted to throw you into the fences, which is what I did to get the damage in the first place.
Yeah, 3 and 4 always perilous at Charlotte, but you did well. Just making a little bit of contact with the wall, obviously, but not enough to derail the race tonight. Big position for the end of the year as well. You must be happy to get that sort of get that decent finish, get yourself a podium, especially coming towards the end of the season, and getting that finish and giving you a little bit of momentum coming into the final round at Daytona.
I didn't even know it was the final round next week. There you go. Okay. Well, I guess we'll be there then. Yeah, that'll be good.
All right, well, wish you luck on the Super Speedway, mate. Congratulations for tonight. And before I let you go, the shout out to all the fans, especially to Sarah. I mean, your biggest cheerleader, of course, but go for it. Team sponsors and things like that. Go for it, mate. You well deserve it.
Okay, Sarah, DJ, of course, all the boys at TWRS, Inside Lane Productions, GTH Signs, J-Tune Automotive, HM Mechanical, Staunch Bull Bars, and Brian's Car Care. Thank you, guys.
All right, awesome stuff. Well done, Kobe. Great to have you up here in the booth. Congratulations on the podium. Hopefully, we'll see you back here next week, mate.
Thanks, Carl.
Jordan there for Inside Lane Productions, coming home with P3 here tonight. Next up for the Sim Boys, it is Mr. Todd Maxfield. Todd, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on the podium here tonight at Charlotte. A very tough race, but you were really running up the front all race long. You look like you had this car absolutely hooked up tonight.
Yeah, mate, I came into it this morning. I said to Aaron that I was going to win it tonight. And to admit, I don't really like Charlotte, so it was all of, confidence and no confidence. And she went my way tonight. I was quite comfy up there too, so yeah, it was good. Enjoyed it.
That shows a little bit of confidence, pays off in the end. Obviously, I imagine you're a little bit disappointed with second because you absolutely were up there all night long. But we saw you having a great run with Gary, just blocking off the front row for the last half of that race. You really had great positioning in the race.
Yeah, mate, Roffey, he was trying to get through us there pretty hard. He got through me there, went underneath me, and then I got him back doing the same thing, and there was no way I was going to do it again and give him that opening spot there to get under me. So, and yeah, just a shame there with Gary and Whitcher, and I suppose it's racing. But yeah, sort of how it goes there at the end with the championship as well. But I guess that's racing, isn't it?
As it is, it's a cruel mistress sometimes, but obviously a decent finish tonight. Quick question: were you one of the drivers for the team points tonight?
That's a negative.
Oh, ouch. Okay, yeah.
Those asked me earlier if I wanted to start. It's like, no, you go, mate. I don't really like Charlotte. Like, you're right. You keep it, and yeah, that's what it is.
Ouch, that's a painful one. Look, hopefully on the back at the super speedways next week, Daytona. We know Sim boys are good on super speedways. You must be feeling confident as well as the team to have a good result there.
Daytona, mate, she's anyone's race, that thing, she's just go into it with it, win it or bin it attitude, really, and just hope that you don't cause or get involved in a wreck. And at the end, if you can do that, I think you're pretty much, you're up there and good as got it in the bag. So,
well, fingers crossed for next week. Just quickly as well, looked like you had the low line absolutely nailed tonight. A lot of drivers struggling down there just to get the car turned. Did you have any of those issues?
No, I run the top there for a bit with Whitcher, and it was hurting my tyres a lot more, and I wasn't really comfy up there in the 3 and 4. And then, once I got to that bottom again, it was just, this is my spot tonight now, just stay down here. And the turning wasn't, I was backing it up a little bit on the turn-in, and then it just seemed to just hug that line, and round she come for me. So, it was good.
Look, absolute great result here tonight. Great to see you up there. Great to see you up in the booth as well, mate. Before I let you go, the love, the shout-out sponsors, people in general, go for it. You absolutely deserve it tonight.
Yeah, first and foremost, you guys for the broadcast. Love watching it back. ASE, Hot Toddys, United Electrical, and all the Sim boys, and unlucky to Gaz and Dozer again there tonight.
Look, better luck next week. Hopefully we'll see you back here in the booth. Congratulations tonight, Todd, and have a good evening.
No worries. Cheers, guys.
Todd Maxfield there for the Sim Boys. And finally tonight, for Southern Stars, it is our race winner, Mr. Andy Barber. Andy, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a fantastic victory here at Charlotte.
Yeah, cheers, boys. Appreciate that. Feel like I actually really worked for that one.
It wasn't the easiest night tonight. Starting at the back, was that choice, or was it just a bit of a mess up in qualifying?
Oh, I don't know. I just wanted to kind of suss it out a little bit and see what was going to happen early on in the race. So I knew that, I might have not had the pace for pole there and probably would have sat around that 5th to 10th realm. So I'd kind of want to just pluck myself out of that and just check out what was going to happen. And then, kind of gradually work my way up from there.
Well, it paid off tonight. We saw a couple of big incidents, and you managed to keep yourself out of trouble through those. And I imagine that was a big part of getting to the end of tonight. But we also saw yourself just keeping yourself with some different strategies, coming into the lane there with that sort of final caution as well. Well, the second to final caution. Were you changing tyres there, or was it just a little bit of fuel?
Oh, no, I definitely got fuel and tyres on that second last stop. And actually, I think it was the third last stop because we weren't really anticipating the 2 yellows after that. And I was kind of talking with the team about whether to take the tyres or save them for if there was a late caution. And we kind of banked against that. And sure enough, the late caution did fall. But certainly nice to be on the other end of the stick and not on the receiving end for once. But just kind of had to be patient tonight and drive smart, I think was the key. And I think that high line really started to come in late in the race as well, which really did help as well.
No, absolutely. It looked tricky in the early stages, that high line, but it definitely came alive later on. Tyre wear wise, were you struggling with the fronts tonight, or was it more of a rear issue?
It was more, I was probably burning more so the left-hand front, more so into turn 4. So you really had to be patient to really point the nose of the car to get it in there. Otherwise, naturally when you're plowing through the corner, it's going to wear. But it really depends on how people drive the car. Some people might use more of the rear if they're driving it on the back more so than the front, but didn't seem to have too much wear, and that wasn't a problem. I knew that the guys on that last pit stop, I think it was Wellman and Roffey, they both ducked in and they probably grabbed tyres as well, but I think I was only around about 7 or 8 laps difference to those guys, so I felt that I could potentially hold them off.
Well, it paid off indeed. Look, a good night tonight as well for the team. We just heard from Todd that he wasn't one of the drivers nominated tonight, so it should be a decent points haul for the team's championship, which is going to be pretty close between you and the Sim Boys in the final round at Daytona.
Actually, you know what? To be honest, I put all the 3 other boys into the team tonight, and they all DNF'd, and I was the one that won.
Oh no!
So yeah, we're sitting second in the team points, trying to catch the Sim Boys in first. And I thought, you know what, I kind of just wanted to start from the back, chill and void of all responsibility tonight, and just enjoy it for what it is, and not have that points pressure on me. And yeah, naturally, probably should have given myself some points. But anyway, that's the way the ball rolls, isn't it?
Always the way. Going from the team to the drivers, this will help close the gap a little bit up the front. Obviously, it came into this race 20 points behind, so it would be a very tough call to jump all the way up there. But this is at least going to close the gap to hopefully get yourself a little bit higher in that championship. Do you feel confident heading off to Daytona?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm confident in myself and the team. We're very good at the super speedways, and the way that we work in with each other with the strategy will certainly be a key to the race. I think I've come third or second a couple of times in this series anyway. I think Craig's pretty much got this one covered at the moment. But certainly looking to finish the season strong with a top 3 would be certainly ideal.
Well, fingers crossed. Best of luck next time out. Hopefully we're going to see you back in the booth in no time at Daytona. But before I let you go, the shout out to sponsors, people in general. Go for it, Andy. You absolutely deserve it tonight for this victory.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to you guys for the broadcast. We all go back and we watch it. They do an absolute amazing job with it week in, week out, especially with the post-race write-ups as well. I know how much time goes into that. The league admins, Nigel, and all the guys at Pinnacle, the Southern Stars team, D-Mac, Adam, Ads, myself, all those guys. And the top 3, second and third positions as well with Kobe. He did quite a good job tonight. And just finally, our sponsors, RBI Trading Cards, Mish's Excel Garage, Tiona Holiday Parks, and I think that's about it, boys.
Congratulations, Annie. Well done indeed. Well done for the victory tonight, and hopefully we'll see you back in the booth next time for Daytona.
All the best.
Andy Barber there for Southern Stars, taking the win here tonight at Charlotte. Well, we are done and dusted for the penultimate round of the championship. Next time it is the final at Daytona. So we hope you can all join us there for that. Big thank you to everybody for joining us here tonight. And of course, big thank you to Mr. Matty Hunter doing all the hard work in the background on the actual broadcast side, and also doing those post-race write-ups as well. Doesn't get enough credit for that kind of thing. But from all of us here at Performance eStream, myself, Carl Wilkinson with you, we wish you a good night, and we'll see you again next week for the championship decider for the Australasian Supercar eSeries.